nickname was probably unavoidable, even if they'd never unearthed her high school history. She was, after all, a petite blonde with a southern accent, a penchant for bright colors, and a tad too much enthusiasm about her work. She couldn't do anything about her height, and not much about her accent, but she ditched the bright colors immediately. As for her enthusiasm, that died a natural death even before she went over to the defense bar. Her courtroom team fanned out in a V formation behind her, like geese flying south. First was her associate, Patty Han, a brilliant young lawyer whose talents were wasted riding second chair beside Kelly. Striding up next was Kelly's assistant, Cassidy Johnson, a long-legged beauty whose competence and composure were likewise indispensable to Kelly's success. Two men brought up the rear, the Philadelphia lawyer, serving as her local counsel, and the suburban lawyer, serving as her hyper-local counsel, both men, both white, and both so nondescript that Kelly routinely confused one with the other. They were indispensable too, but only because the local court rules required them, a way of protecting the hometown bar from marauding out-of-state lawyers like Kelly. The final member of her team was Javier Torres, her investigator. He was there too, but not on the courthouse steps. He was on patrol, moving through the crowd like a panther, silky smooth and stealthy. "For 10 long months," Kelly began, her voice ringing out down the steps and over the street, "Dr. Benedict has borne the awful weight of a false accusation. His reputation has been sullied, his family traumatized. He's received hate mail and even death threats. And his work, his vital, critical work, has been horribly hampered. That's the awful power of a false accusation. And perhaps worst of all is that he had to bear all this in silence. The reality of our legal system meant that he couldn't say a word in his own defense." Of course, it was Kelly herself who forbade him to speak, but the crowd didn't need to know that. Today, at last, 12 good men and women spoke up for him. They put the lie to that awful, false accusation. She allowed a smile then, a big, beaming smile that broke out like a sunrise over the crowd. The jury returned a unanimous verdict of not guilty on all counts. Her declaration was greeted with boos and hisses from the protesters, but she heard only the applause and whistles from the counter-protesters. Like any good cheerleader, she knew how to whip up her own side to drown out the other side. The technique still worked today. She raised both arms in triumph, and Team Benedict roared its approval and sent the blood singing through her veins. This moment was her compensation for all she'd sacrificed and all she still endured. For 10 years, she'd done nothing but defend men accused of sex crimes. Athletes and musicians were her bread and butter, along with the occasional CEO. It was sordid work. The accusations themselves, of course, but also all the borderline dirty tactics it took to defeat them, all the unreasonable ways of creating reasonable doubt. It left her feeling soiled, sometimes, as if her hands were stained with the damned spots of complicity. But this moment scrubbed those spots away. It was like tossing a match on tinder and watching the flames erupt. She was purified by fire, silver in the refiner's crucible. She liked to win. She lived to win. It was the entire secret of her success. Her courtroom victories weren't due to any great brilliance on her part. She had no more talent than the average lawyer. What she did have was this abiding lust for victory. Early in life, she realized that she was never going to be more than a runner-up in either athletic or academic competitions, so she found other ways to use her competitive drive. Cheerleading squad, drama club, debate team. Law school was a natural progression, and criminal trial work the natural culmination.